I just was reflecting on that this thing started about 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, we were sheltering in place. We didn't know for how long. We were kind of realizing, oh, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. And so I felt like I was a good time for me to step up and create some music with you all and create a way for us to come together and just share some of the songs of spirit and action and reflection that I've, just been doing for so long. And then who knew that a week later that there would be the incredible, horrific murder of George Floyd by the police and the beginning of a national uprising, an unprecedented uprising, unprecedented moment of potential reckoning. And that sort of added to everything that we're trying to do here on these nights in terms of trying to hold ourselves in a healing and open way in the middle of challenges that we've probably never encountered before in a certain way. So I'm just kind of hanging on by the tail of the kite, trying to keep up with all of this as you are, and offer what seems useful, week to week. And so this week, the theme for me is seeds, compost, and cultivation. And I listened to a wonderful talk by a Buddhist teacher named Tara Brach that some of you probably know, Tarabrach, Tara Brach. And I will send you resources tomorrow. I do a big email after this event and send out links to everything I've mentioned, so don't worry about writing things down. Anyway, her talk was about spiritual hope and the difference between hope in outcomes, I hope that this happens, versus a kind of what I would almost call faith, a hope and a faith in our capacity to not only imagine, but manifest what is right, what is needed, what could be true if we have faith. And so that's kind of going to weave through our night here as well. But we're going to start off with compost, because without compost, things just won't grow. Things have to rot, they have to be discarded, they have to get smelly, they have to lose their shape, and then lo and behold, incredible things come out of them. So I think that's a life lesson right there. So here's the chorus, which we will all sing along. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Only the earth knows how to bake a big, delicious compost cake. Let's try that all together. Yum, yum. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Only the earth knows how to bake a big, delicious compost cake. All right. Here is how you make a compost cake, in case you don't know. Well, you take a little banana peel, leftovers from your last meal. Everything except the steak goes in a compost cake. Tea leaves and some coffee grounds, lettuce that is golden brown, shells from the eggs you had to break go in a compost cake. Oh, yum, yum, here we go. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Only the earth knows how to bake a big, delicious compost cake. Then you put it in a great big pile, let it sit a long, long while. Sun and rain are what it takes to bake a compost cake. It takes some dirt, takes some leaves, and a little magic, I believe. Then one day it's finally baked into a compost cake. Let's do it. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Only the earth knows how to bake a big, delicious compost cake. Then you plant your seeds and veggie starts. Use your muscle, use your hearts, use your hoe and use your rake, and spread your compost cake. And watch the garbage that you threw into the pile come back to you in the fresh freshest meal you'll ever make. All from a compost cake. Sing it out. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Only the earth knows how to bake a big, delicious one more. Yum, yum, a compost cake. Yum, yum, compost cake. Woo! Only the earth knows how to bake a big, delicious compost cake. Woo, yum, yum. Woo. Yeah. So how many of you compost? Let me get into galleries so I can see. Raise your hands if you compost. Yeah. Well, that song is sort of a recipe. I've sung it with so many kids, and the idea is just to get people realizing, oh, all we have to do is put our garbage in the dirt instead of in the wastebasket. Yeah, it's not that hard. So yeah. And compost, I feel like all of the garden and farming imagery that I'm going to be drawing on tonight, Ruth and I both, all of them have these beautiful lessons in them, the teachings in them, I guess I should say. And Joanna Macy, a beloved teacher that I know some of you know, the woman who has written so powerfully about the great turning and the kind of arc, the long arc of time that we're living in. And she really frames this age we are in as a major transformative exit from the industrial age and the technological age into the ecozoic age, which we are in the middle of transitioning to, knock on redwoods. But she talks about composting in our hearts, and she talks about, and this is a very Buddhist concept, but I love the way she talks about it, of taking the sorrow and the anger and the despair and even the hatred that we might feel, and instead of pushing it away or trying to get rid of it somehow, to compost it in our hearts, to breathe it through, to cradle it, to water it even in a healthy way, and that's how the seeds of compassion grow, and the seeds of love and peace. So I just love that idea that I can compost the things in my heart that I wish weren't there, and instead befriend them and let them change me. Let them change me. So, yes. Another beloved teacher many of you probably know is Thich Nhat Hanh, Vietnamese Buddhist teacher. And he talks a lot about watering the seeds in our hearts, watering the seeds of love and compassion. So at one point I wrote this little song for children and all of us, planting a seed of peace. And once you get the hang of it, most of it repeats over and over. So the verses, you can sing on all the verses, and then there's just one little part that changes each time. It goes like this. I am planting a seed of peace on earth. Peace in my heart, that's where it starts. I am planting a seed of peace. And then the next verse is the same thing. I am planting a seed of peace on earth. But this time we say, peace in my home, that's where it's grown. So just try singing along. I am planting a seed of peace on earth, in my home. Peace in my home, that's where it's grown. I am planting a seed of peace. Again, I am planting a seed of peace on earth. Peace in my school, more precious than jewels. Peace in my school, more precious than jewels. I am planting a seed of peace. Peace in my land, we can all lend a hand. I am planting a seed of peace on earth, land. peace in my land, we can all lend a hand. I am planting a seed of peace. And as I sang this with children over the years, they added more verses. I won't do all of them, but they did some lovely ones. Peace in my town, where there's no put downs. Peace on my block, where people can talk. And then a real favorite, peace out in space, where no weapons are placed. So they were thinking big. But we'll just go back to, oh yeah, I am planting a seed of peace, a seed of peace on earth, a planet of peace from all of our seeds. I am planting a seed of peace in my heart. I am planting a seed of peace, a seed of peace on earth. Peace in my heart, that's where it starts. I am planting a seed of peace. I am planting a seed of peace. Oh, thank you. It's so good to see your lips moving. It would be so much sweeter to hear you, but it's not what we're doing now. Someday, though, someday we will. Someday we will. I'm just scanning through the gallery because I love seeing who's here. Um, really appreciate all of your presence. Oh, hi, Annabelle. You made it. Annabelle and her little 3-month-old Anastasia. That's hard to make it to anything with a 3-month-old. So big kudos, big round of applause for Annabelle. Oh, great. Well, welcome to you all. How are you all doing? I know that's kind of a, like, you can't really answer, but I'm not the only one who's tracking that this thing is we're facing an unknown future, aren't we? And the seeds inside of us are the seeds of that future, and we're going to sing about that in a minute. But I want to introduce now Ruth Pelham a little more fully. Ruth makes magic with children and adults, and I don't remember where we first met. I think it was at a people's music gathering of some kind back on the East Coast maybe. But in any case, Ruth started a community project that I'm going to show you a video of in a minute of for children. It's called the Music Mobile. And we're going to watch a little clip of that just so you get the full flavor of what Ruth has been doing for the last 39 years. And then she'll maybe say a little more about it and share a song. So give me a minute to get this video up. And I'm going to show just a snippet. I'm not going to show the whole thing because I'd much rather hear the live Ruth tonight, but I want you to just get some flavor of this. So here we go.
Love is all around. Love is all around. It would be a hoot driving down the street, and people on their stoops would just start singing the song. The concept of going to where people are is like a no-brainer. Put programs in neighborhoods right there so people can come and have the immediate sense of welcome and belonging. We're all a family under one sky, family under one sky. I know Music Mobile has made such a difference.
I would run from an ice cream truck to come to the Music Mobile. I love books just that much and still do today.
We used to see the van and then it played the song, and God, we used to run to the park. I'm alone, sing a song, it's the Music Mobile.
Have fun, play a drum, it's the Music Mobile.
38 years old and I still remember the song. I still remember the Music Mobile.
Big kids, little kids, baby kids, older kids.
If you didn't make one of these, you're not from Albany. Ruth Pelham, she's just a wonderful person.
For all of us, we thank you. We thank you.
You came with love and hugs and smiles and song.
You don't know what you did for us, but you really did bring the community together.
I can't imagine having done anything different in my life with greater meaning than Music Mobile, because everything that matters to me is encompassed in it.
So, yeah. So Ruth Pelham, old friend. Oh gosh, why don't you just unmute and give us a song and tell us maybe a little bit about why did you start, what inspired you to start Music Mobile? I want to know about that.
Well, I have to say I was a little desperate. I was on unemployment. I was planning to move out of Albany, New York, and move actually to Berkeley. And I heard that there was a federal jobs program called CETA. This was 1977. So I went up to the office, and it was Memorial Day weekend, and they said, come back in August, you're eligible, but not now. And I thought, no, in August, I'm going to Berkeley. So I said, well, that won't work. I have a program to start. And they said, well, what program is that? And it was like, I didn't know. So I said, Music Mobile. And they say, what's that? I said, well, I go around to parks and playgrounds and sing songs. And I figured kids weren't going to sit for a whole while just singing. And I had this radical notion of building musical instruments out of recycled materials, and then this really radical notion of peace. Back in 1977, it was radical. Anyway, so one thing led to another, and within about 2 days, I had this job that I had no clue of what I was going to do. But I had to be out on the streets by July 5th and write a jingle, and so I did, and it turned into 38 years of going to parks in Albany and Schenectady and Arizona and Sri Lanka and Uganda and the Soviet Union. And it's pretty wonderful when you take a leap and don't have time to feel your fear, because it's not there, because it's just so big. So this song that I love to sing was on the video. And it goes like this. Now, you all have a table or knees or something, bellies in front of us, yeah? So tap along, clap along, snap along, whatever. Love is all around. This is a hard song. That repeats 4 times. And when you say love is all around, we go, give yourself a hug. And the thing is like you really mean it. So love is all around. Love is all around. And thus and such. Here we go. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Then there'll be a line, it'll be like da 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 da. Then we all go, love is all around. That's it. Here we go. Well, the earth is our treasure. How lucky are we? Love is all around. Home to billions of people just like you and me. Love is all around. And the chorus, love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Well, we're living here together as we spin through space. Love is all around. Sisters and brothers of the human race. Love is all around. Sing it out. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Now Now when you look up at night and see the stars in the sky, love is all around. Do you wonder who we are? How did we get here and why? Love is all around. Sometimes I sing this song at these board meetings or when I'm busy fundraising. There are people in ties and suits and they're going, love is all around. It's a good way to even things out. So here we go. Well, may the road we travel be paved with peace. Love is all around. Step by step, love will grow and hatred will cease. Love is all around. In a whisper, here we go. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Love is all around. Come on, people, let's sing. Come on, people, let's build a world that's caring and kind. Love is all around. We need each and every one. Yes, now is the time. Love is all around. 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 Thanks so much. I guess the tricky thing is really to believe that and to make that decision. Do I really believe that? And if I do, how do I act? And especially so in times when we get cynical and loving world. I don't know about that, but I think that's the direction to go. Thanks so much, Betsy.
Oh, Ruth, that was so happy. That was such a happy feeling, and thank you. And she's going to be back later, believe me. So, wow. I'm going to light my candles, and if anybody brought a candle and wants to light it, this would be a great time to do it. Yeah. And if you don't have a candle, just can you see the one right there? That little glowing thing right there. That's your candle right there. Oh, so just kind of letting ourselves settle a little bit now. I like to, for me, it's very helpful for me to just have a minute to ground and kind of settle into my breath and my body. And I see some waving goodbye from young people. Bye bye. They don't want to do that sit and be reflective thing. That's totally fine. Sometimes I don't either. But I do want to just invite us for a moment to just take that extra deep breath. And if you want to, focus on a candle or just close your eyes. Take a moment to kind of feel the energy that has already happened amongst us. From Ruth's wonderful singing and the wonderful message. And the reality that despite all obstacles, we can actually be here. We found our way here. Knowing that music is medicine and that we really, really need medicine these days. So just breathing in candlelight, breathing in peace, breathing in whatever your heart needs. Hope, faith, joy, quiet. Transformation, justice. There's so much we need. And I brought tonight some seeds. Let's see if I can hold them up where you can see them. A little hard to see. Well, I'll put them in my hand and see. They are beans. They're beans. They're, you know, good size, pretty good size seeds there. And I also have this plant back here. And I just think it's one of those humble miracles that there's everything in here that is needed for a bean to become a bean. Everything's in here. It doesn't look like anything. It just looks like a pebble. But all it takes is certain sets of circumstances for a tremendous complexity to come out of this. Leaves, you know, little flowers, and then a vegetable that we can eat, and then turning to compost. And I just to me, that gives me a lot of faith in the potential that we all have in any moment to bring forth what is needed, you know, bring forth what we want to bring forth into the world, and even through that, bring forth the world we want. It's such an amazing moment right now that we're living in. There's so much possibility, and so many seeds that are just bursting, I think, under the pressure of this time. Good seeds. Maybe some seeds that are going to need a little pruning and trimming and gentle cultivation. But nonetheless, a lot of possibilities springing up right now. So I have a new song. You all inspire me. I seem to write a new song a week for this evening, kind of something. I just feel like I want something new. So this is what I got for this week. I'll sing you the little phrase, and then we'll do it together. I am a seed born out of darkness. All I need to help me grow is a little light, a little tenderness, an open sky, and the earth below. I'm going to teach it to you line by line. I'll sing it, you sing it back. First line, I am a seed born out of darkness. Try it. I am a seed born out of darkness. Here's my part. All I need to help me grow. Try it. All I need to help me grow is a little light, a little tenderness. Try that. Is a little light, a little tenderness, an open sky, and the earth below. Ready? An open sky, and an earth below. And I really kind of subscribe to the stumble along method of song singing together, which is do it wrong. Do it as wrong as can be, but do it, you know, and little by little, it comes together and it just kind of becomes, all of a sudden you own it. So trust that process and sing with me. First line, I am a seed born out of darkness. Here we go. I am a seed born out of darkness. All I need to help me grow is a little light, is a little light, a little tenderness, open sky, an open sky, and the earth below. It'll be easier next time. Let's do it. I am a child. I am a child born out of darkness. All I need to help me grow is a little light, tenderness, a little tenderness, open sky, and the earth below. Is it getting better? Sounds great to me. I am a dream. I am a dream born out of darkness. All I need to help me grow a little light is a little light, tenderness, a little tenderness, an open sky, and the earth below. So I just have the urge to stop for a minute and just maybe close your eyes if you like, or just go inward a bit. So I want you to think about, I want us all to think about, what is that dream? What is that world that we envision? What is the world that you want to see manifest? Maybe attach a few words to that world. What is it made of? What does it feel like? Who's in it? What values are we living by? And then imagine just watering the seeds of that dream, that vision, watering them with faith and the endless possibility that it could be. It could be. Doubt is a hindrance. Doubt slows us down, undermines our strength and our courage. So we have to be foolish enough and brave enough to believe that what we dream is really possible, now more than ever. So right now we are watering the seeds of the future. I am the future, born out of darkness. All I need to help me grow is a little light, a little tenderness, an open sky, and the earth below. I am a seed, I am a seed, born out of darkness. All I need to help me grow is a little light, a little tenderness, an open sky, and the earth below. Just an open sky and the earth below. Thank you. I have a poem that I just love. It's one of my favorite poems. And it's another little earth lesson, something that nature's created that just says so much about how change happens and how the future is possible. It's by Kim Rosen and it's called In Impossible Darkness. Do you know how the caterpillar turns? Do you remember what happens inside a cocoon? You liquefy. There in the thick black of your self-spun womb, void as the moon before waxing, you melt. As Christ did for 3 days in the tomb, conceiving in impossible darkness the sheer inevitability of wings. Conceiving in impossible darkness the sheer inevitability. Oh, that was a slip. I'm gonna do that again. Conceiving in impossible darkness the sheer inevitability of wings. You know those times? I know you know those times when it's just so messy inside. You're just like a total mess, puddle of tears. Everything you thought you knew, you don't know. Every direction you thought you were going in is blocked or you don't want it anymore. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Say amen, somebody. Yeah, really. And that's to me.
Amen.
Thank you.
Amen.
Needed that. Yeah.
Aho, ashe.
Great. Ashe.
Hallelujah.
Thank you. That was nice. Yeah, should unmute more often. Yeah. Well, that's that liquefying in the cocoon. And how many times after one of those times has something in you come through stronger than ever, or new, or like knowing something you didn't know, or having a direction you didn't know? how else does life get born except out of darkness? You know, really. So I'm just that I'm grateful for that poem. It's really, really helps me. You know, it's like I need stories like that. I need images like that because they shape how I live. Stories I tell myself shape how I live. And there are stories of doom and despair, and the world is full of wrong, rotten. How did I get muted? That was weird. Oh, you did it. Yeah, I get it. I get it. No problem. My host muted everybody. So what I'm saying is that I need stories like the cocoon. I need stories like the seed. And it's very important, the stories we tell ourselves, isn't it? Because they shape our actions. They shape what we do. If my story is that the good guys lose, the bad guys win, that evil is so powerful, there's nothing to be done, that shapes everything about how I live, including my mental health, you know. So the butterfly in the cocoon is one of my stories, a really important one. So I got a little song about that, about stories. It's called A Simple Story. Oh, when I meet my maker, 3 questions I will ask. One about the future, another about the past. Pray tell me where we're going, and where did we begin, and what's the purpose of it all, as through the night we spin. 'Cause I need a simple story, makes its meaning clear. 'Cause someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story, like holding my mama's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. Now science has its theories, its proofs and measurements, a tiny point exploding in the mighty firmament, and all the living universe, everything we know, came tumbling out to fill the sky 12 billion years ago. And all the great traditions have stories of our birth, of gods and magic animals that covered all the earth. I tell them to my children, it helps them go to sleep. But underneath it all, the dark is silent and it's deep. So I need a simple story that makes its meaning clear. Someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story, like holding my mama's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. And if you need a simple story, sing with me. I need a simple story, makes its meaning clear. 'Cause someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story, like holding my mama's hand. I need a simple story, like holding my mama's hand. The older I am growing, the less I understand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. Feeling empty and feel I've gone astray. The years have left their mark on me, I can see it in my face. Still I know we're born for something, I know it's not in vain, and my heart sings with a story that words cannot explain. And I need that simple story singing in my ears. And I need that simple story singing in my ears. Someday, someday I will say goodbye to all I treasure here. I need a simple story holding my mama's hand. 'Cause the older I am growing, the less I understand. So I'm holding my mama's hand. Thank you. I was talking to my son, my 28-year-old son today, and I've talked about him before. You know, he's a regenerative agriculture guy doing organic farming in a way that restores the soil. And right now he's actually doing, you'd never think of it, but he's doing cattle management. It turns out properly managed cattle herds are the best way to maintain landscape and to restore damaged landscape and to store carbon. It's just remarkable, all the things he's learning, all the things he's doing. I was hoping he'd come on tonight and talk a little bit about the mycelium, because he's the guy I like to talk to when I'm really feeling not very hopeful. I call my son Matt up and say, tell me about the mycelium again. And he tells me about how the fungus and the mycelia under the soil talk to the trees, and they convert, oh my gosh, they convert minerals into something that trees can eat, and that turns into something else. And you know, he should tell you, not me. But it's just this amazing underground network of life going on all the time underneath our feet. Just like the souls of people around the world are organizing and rising and advocating for themselves. And we don't hear about it because we've got such crummy media. And yet all the while, the grassroots are moving, you know, and so much is happening. And that's a story that we need to know. And the story he told me today, that some of you, I'm sure you know this already, and I sort of know it, but I'd forgotten, is that there are seeds that lie dormant literally for years, even decades, in the forest, in the fields, native grasses, that don't get activated until there's a time of disruption. It can be a fire, it can be a cattle stampede, or just new wildlife coming through and chopping things up, you know, with their hooves that have never come before. And then after the disruption, there needs to be a time of rest, and then the seeds germinate. And things grow that haven't been seen for decades or ever. Think about that. Think about the hope in that. Because here we are, right? And we're in this time of incredible disruption, of fires raging through the planet. And who knows what dormant seeds are bursting right now. And we already see some of it. We see Confederate statues falling. We see police departments being defunded. We see, you know, people who would not dream of taking a Confederate symbol off the flag, voting to take it off the flag. Now, you know, this is not the only thing going on, but I'm saying something is disrupted and something is bursting forth. And if that's a story to take with us. That's a story to take home with us tonight. So we are going to do something new tonight that we have never done through the magic of Zoom. We're going to go into breakout rooms. Have you ever gone into a breakout room before in a Zoom? Zoom has the capacity to shoot you all out into little rooms with each other, and maybe groups of 3, to say hi to somebody you probably don't know, maybe from another part of the country or the world, and just say hi and check in, how, you know, say who you are, where you're from, whatever. And then I would love it, if you feel like it, to share some seed of what inspires you. Where does nature give you something that reminds you not to give up? Or what is it that reminds you that your dreams can be made manifest? If you feel like sharing, otherwise just chat, enjoy each other. Just a short time, 5 minutes. If you don't, for some reason, don't feel like chatting with other people, you can just stay here. I'll be here. We can chat with each other, or you can go take a break and come back. Okay. So here in a minute, you're going to get invited into a room. Okay. That looks good. I'm trying to think how many. I think I'll make it a little bit more. Okay, this works. Off you go. You just have to click join.
Hi there.
Oh, hello there, bro.
I just got here, so I
Ah,
didn't feel like breaking right off into a group. I would
I
rather chat
understand.
with you for a minute.
Yeah, of course. Hi. Yeah, so I see you got your Airbnb booked.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Excellent, excellent. And I arranged to have no CBEC responsibilities Wednesday, so I'm free to
Oh,
meet
good.
you after your appointment if you want.
Great. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I'll head straight out. Assuming that there's nothing else I have to follow up on
yeah,
uh,
right. Yeah, we'll
in
just see
town.
what happens. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
good.
great. So, well, and maybe we can see each other for a coffee or something Wednesday morning. I don't know whether, what day, Thursday morning, but maybe not. No, probably not.
Oh, wait a minute. When you're coming Wednesday, right?
No, I'm coming Tuesday night.
Yeah, but your Wednesday's your big long day.
Yeah,
So that's the day I've freed up. Yeah, that's
yeah,
the day
okay.
I've freed up.
That's fine. Yeah, that's right. I was thinking there might be some time Thursday morning, but there really won't be. My flight's at 11.
Yeah,
So
I
I'll
doubt
just go
it.
straight from the Airbnb to the airport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right. And I'll be with the kids on at CBEC anyway.
Oh, yeah.
So hi, Frisia. Hello, Batya. You're not going, you can go into room. You don't want to join. Okay, there you go. No problem.
No, I tried to join, but I waited until just now. I was the only person in the room, so I thought, oh, I'll talk
Okay.
to you.
Yeah, might as well come out here and hang out. Yeah. Hi,
Yeah.
Tina.
Hey, Betsy. So
Hey.
I'm not in a breakout room because I'm finishing a project, but I wanted to tell you that
Yes.
they found so the lotus, after it's finished blooming, the seeds fall off and they drop down into the mud at the bottom of that really gross pond that lotuses grow in. This is a big, tall American ones.
Yeah.
Or they're all over, but not the little water lily ones, the really tall, big lotus.
Okay.
And they found a lotus seed in the mud. And when they scraped a little of the outside of the seed and carbon tested it, or however they do it, they discovered it was 2,000 years old.
Whoa. Oh,
And it was waiting for the right time, to do its thing. But 2,000 years old.
unbelievable. See, that's it. I mean, it's just who can fathom these things? It's just
Right. And
so good.
and those seeds, and we're just like the seeds. We have everything inside of us to
Exactly.
become the fullest expression of ourselves that we could possibly become. It was all in us when we were born, and it's all still there.
That's right. Amen. That's the
Amen.
message of the evening, or at least a lot of it.
I love it. The songs are wonderful.
Oh, I'm so glad. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just told Scott that you're my Dharma teacher now. And he said, oh, that's so wonderful.
Oh, say hi to him. That's so sweet. I'm so glad you're here. That's really lovely. Yeah. Frisia, are you here?
Hi, Betsy.
Hi, Frisia. Good to see your name on the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm not on video because I've been enjoying the music as I drove home from Santa Cruz with a car full of groceries. So,
Yeah.
so you're mobile. Talk about the mobile music mobile.
Right, really. Yeah, I know. It's amazing with this Zoom thing. You can just put your phone in your purse and go about your business and listen to it. It's just
I know,
it feels like kind of getting away with something, but what the heck,
And just like your other friend just said, I had just said to Ray as he's helping me unpack all the groceries. I said, she's such a minister. I just love her. So I'm
family. It runs in the family. I know. You can take the girl out of the church, but you cannot take the church out of the girl. It's just.
Oh, that's so clear. And we need you so much these days, especially more than ever. So thank you for keeping these programs going.
Oh, thank you so much, Frisia. It just means a lot to me that you're here. Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Betsy, can I say a quick hello?
Yeah, please.
Betsy, my name is Rita Roush,
Hi,
and
Rita.
I have heard your music over the years. And I just want to tell you that I'm here with my 96-year-old mom in Rossmore.
Oh, fantastic.
She's
Hi. Hello.
Anyway, she's still been active until COVID, but
yeah. Well,
slowed her down. But and I just want to say that I remember Ruth Pelham's music from the Radical Social Work Conference we had in New York in the 80s.
That was the Bertha Reynolds conference.
Yes. Who are you?
I'm Ruth Pelham.
Oh, hi, Ruth. Yes.
Okay. Here we go. The cat's out of the bag now. We do, at the end of the evening, we do unmute and people can do all kinds of chatting and whatevering. But I promise there's times for you. So listen, it is time for us to hear from Ruth again. And I want to just say that every week I try to bring forward a couple of good news items to balance out all the horrific stuff that we get fed from the mainstream.
This is Will Rose, that's Betsy's brother.
And maybe we need to mute people, probably need to mute people.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Hi. So anyway, so here's the good news, some good news from this week. It's pretty obvious, nothing surprising for you, but the Supreme Court did approve DACA continuing the deferred action for immigrant dreamers, a victory, and also fended off more attacks on abortion rights, another victory. And there's been some great election results, great primary results of progressive Democrats, not a lot, but of them, many of them African-American. So these are the kind of things that you've probably seen in the news, but it's good to celebrate them. It's good to celebrate the victories whenever they come. But for me, I look more at the small local grassroots. That's where I find the hope, just like the mycelium and the seeds. And Ruth is one of those people who is local and although international, obviously. And just your work, Ruth, gives me hope. Your songs give me hope. So would you share another song with us?
I'd love to.
Great.
I wrote this song back in the 80s. And it's a zipper song where we can add in words and thoughts. And I don't know if you have paper to write on, but as we sing this song, if there's a word that you would like to pop in, I'd love that.
And you can put them in the chat also.
Oh, I won't see them though. Let's see. Let me get.
I'll tell you what they are. I'll be your interpreter.
Excellent. Thank you, and thanks for having me here, Bets.
Oh,
it's a joy, total joy. So this is called "Look to the People." It goes like this. We're gonna look to the people for courage in the hard times coming ahead. Would you sing that with me? We're gonna look to the people for courage in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out. Sing that with me. We're gonna sing and shout, we're gonna work it out. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. Then we sing with people's courage 3 times and then we can make it. With people's courage, and again. With people's courage, and again. With people's courage, we can make it. We can make it. Then we take out out the word courage and let's put in the word loving. Gonna look to the people for loving. We're gonna look to the people for loving in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people's loving and some harmony. People's loving. With people's loving, we can make it. Does anybody have a word to put in there? Gonna look to the people for, oh, I know one, voting. That is something we're all gonna be doing and getting people out to do it with us. We're gonna look to the people. Oh, I know what we could do on this. Do you remember the old days when the voting machines had a lever and you pulled it? Everybody take hold of that lever. And when we go, gonna look to the people for voting. Here we go. We're gonna look to the people for voting in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people's voting. With people's voting. And again, with people's voting, we can make it. We can make it. And I see that Sheila Sandow has suggested wisdom. Here we go. We're gonna look to the people for wisdom in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people's wisdom. With people's wisdom. With people's wisdom. We can make it. We can make it. And Benet in Berkeley says justice. Gonna look to the people for justice. We're gonna look to the people for justice in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people's justice. With people's justice. With people's justice. We can make it. What I love to do with zipper songs is to have everybody make up your own word. And we'll sing all these different words at the same time. So you might be singing laughing, somebody might be singing hugging, somebody might be singing compassion. So fill in your own and we can make it. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna look to the people for laughter in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. Sing your word. People's, there we go, sing it out. With people's laughter. With people's laughter. We can make it. I see wisdom, hope. With zooming, we can make it. Thank you, Will. Let's end this song with singing and some hand clapping. Here we go. We're gonna look to the people for singing in the hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout, gonna work it out in the hard times coming ahead. With people singing. With people singing. With people singing. We can make
let's unmute and really let Ruth know how we feel. All right.
Yay, Ruth.
I love you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth.
Thank you.
I tell you, there was one night we were at this people's music
Play
gathering.
to that. Hit play. Take it and hit play.
What?
Take
Oh,
it and
wait a
hit
minute,
play.
mute everybody
The
again.
little boy.
Okay, got it. Hit play, hit play. Yeah, there was one time when Ruth was leading either that song or another one that she wrote that's equally magical. And this is a crowd of maybe 100, 150 progressive musicians from mostly the Eastern Seaboard. Sandy's part of that group, Sandy Pliskin, and other, other people that you've probably heard of, Charlie King and others, Marcia Taylor, Kathy Winter, my old singing partner. Anyway, and Ruth pulled out that song, and I'll tell you, it was about 11 o'clock at night, so we were all a little punch drunk anyway. And the whole group was on their feet doing a spiral dance before we'd ever heard of a spiral dance, weaving all around this, kind of camp hall of some kind, just singing at the top of our lungs. And, that's the kind of thing that'll keep you going. That's why I'm doing this tonight, just to keep us going. And Ruth, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You bring
Absolutely.
something so special. You bring something so magical. And I think we'll do this again, Ruth, and just make the evening like around, like you and me, just round robin. We want a lot more next time. Yeah, I want a lot more Ruth next time.
What I'd like to do, what you could do, Betsy, is there's the video that we saw before. There's more to it.
Oh, yeah.
Betsy can put that up on the resource so you get more of a sense of what Music Mobile is about and the purpose of it, and getting into neighborhoods where there are no programs and reaching people in a way that is direct, accessible, free, and has gone on for generations. So that would be great if you could do that, Betsy.
It's absolutely my intention. Amy is writing down all the promises that we're making tonight. We'll send you this, we'll send you that. That is definitely going to come to you all tomorrow, probably yeah. Okay, great. So Ruth, I love you. I can't believe, Ruth came back. Ruth and I are old friends who lost touch with each other a bit. And under COVID, something happened. And I called her to see how she was doing. We had such an amazing talk that now we talk every week, twice a week for a half an hour at 6 in the morning, my time. It's been the best. So, hey, I'm going to jump in with one more song here. We're reaching the end. But that video was made because Ruth was given a Lifetime Achievement Award by the city of Albany, New York. Yes, in 2018 or so, something. Much deserved. Much deserved. And I was remembering that the city of Berkeley occasionally honors an artist in their community who does community art, and offers things to the community. And one year, 2017, they were kind enough to have me be that person. So I got to go down to City Hall to the city council meeting and receive my proclamation and be, honored as an artist in the community. And you know what proclamations are like? They're on parchment and they always start with whereas Betsy Rose has blah, 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 blah. It was like, oh my God, what world am I in? I just felt like I was on another planet. But I wrote a song for the event, which I sang at the city council meeting, called My Proclamation. So in honor of Ruth's city honoring her and my beautiful city of Berkeley being so kind as to honor me. And I think there's other artists in this room who have also been honored by Berkeley. I'm going to sing My Proclamation. There's a part for you. When we get to it, I'll show you what it is. Whereas everyone deserves a home and work that gives them meaning, whereas universal health care is a basic human right, whereas true community protects us more than tanks and shields, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim a great uprising of love. Did you figure out your part? Echo that we proclaim on any note you want. Here we go. I'll start. We proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim a great uprising of love. Whereas voting rights are being stolen by rogue legislators, whereas women's right to choose is disappearing state by state, whereas children grow up hungry in the wealthiest of nations. We proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim a great uprising of love. Whereas immigrants and refugees are welcome in our city, whereas LGBTQ folks stand up fearless, stand up proud, whereas we affirm that every Black life matters and is precious, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, sing it out, we proclaim a great uprising of love. Feel free to shout. Whereas traffic stops are now a lethal incident for Black folks, whereas oil is piped through native lands and through our Mother Earth, whereas none of this reflects the values that our city stands for, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim a great uprising of love. And whereas people power took down the Berlin Wall meant to divide them, whereas segregation fell before nonviolence and courage, whereas changes that we thought would be impossible have happened, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim a great uprising of love. We proclaim a revolution of love. We proclaim the tide is turning toward love. Okay, one more time for you. We proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim, we proclaim our great uprising of love. Oh, my brother's making a heart. Thank you, bro. I love my brother. Sometimes my sister comes too, but she's got a house full of grandchildren and it doesn't always work out. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Whew. So that feels pretty good, doesn't it? Anybody feeling better?
Hello, Betsy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Good, good, good medicine. Good medicine. So, one more piece of good news I want to share, thinking about seeds, thinking about farming, and thinking about how every week we invite you to donate something to support this event, to, in this case, support Ruthie. I always believe in paying artists for their work, and I don't mind paying myself now and then if I can. But you've been so generous. I've so appreciated seeing your donations come in. It's very easy to do. It's on PayPal, or you can write a check. All the information is in the invitations that you receive. And I think even in the Zoom link, that you get sent this PayPal thing multiple times. And I'll send it out tomorrow when I send out the follow-up email. So thank you so, so much. I know these are hard times economically, and if it's not a good time for you to donate, please, this is freely offered. There's a long tradition in Buddhism where monks never and nuns never charge for their teachings. The belief and the understanding is that spiritual teachings are precious. To put a price on them is really not right. And the way monks and nuns were able to eat and clothe themselves and house themselves was that the community gave back to them in gratitude. So it's really a circle of generosity and gratitude. And that is absolutely the spirit that we're here tonight in. So if it gives you joy to support and give and share with me and Ruthie, that's wonderful. And Ruth wants to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say that my giving tonight is from my heart, and no need for me to have any remuneration, but the programs that we've been giving money for in the past 5 weeks are incredible. And maybe you could mention those liberation groups, not for me, but
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Really wonderful programs, Betsy, that we've been supporting.
Yeah, it's been remarkable. I know a lot of you have been here before, so you know about the women in Kenya that we've been sending donations to, who are, there's two different organizations, a women's center in Nairobi and another center called Life Bloom in Naivasha, which is about an hour outside of Nairobi. Life Bloom are the women's that I spent time with when I was in Kenya in 2016. And they are a grassroots. It started with one woman, a woman who was a high school principal and learned that her students, some of her students' mothers were raising the money for their uniforms and their books by selling their bodies on the street at night. And she was so upset at that and could not go on in that job. So she left her school job and began going into brothels and bars and talking to women and saying, come with me, I'm going to help you find another way. And she started doing empowerment trainings, emotional healing, and entrepreneurial skills. And they've helped over, I think by now, about 7,000 women get out of sex work and out of domestic abuse. So that's one group that we've been able to donate to. And then there's the wonderful Ester Con Cara, the country singer, who is such a generous person. And in her home, she's a single mom with a baby, and her rent was two months past, and her threatened eviction. Her neighbor was threatened with eviction with 3 children. Her neighbor was siphoning electricity off of Esther's house, so she was sharing electricity. So we raised money and sent them to her, and she was paying rent for her neighbors. She was taking food packages to families. One of her band members, she's a wonderful country singer, I'll send you her resource. One of her band members called her in tears one morning and said, I don't have food for my children today. We haven't had breakfast, and we're not going to have lunch. And she was able to walk over to his house and give him some money for food. And it's so wonderful, isn't it, to just be part of, we all want to be part of something, don't we? We all want to feel connected, and we get all this news from around the world that impacts our hearts, that breaks our hearts, and we can't reach out and touch it. There's very little we can concretely do, and it's unhealthy for us. It wears our hearts out. And so to be able to just do what we've been doing here and helping Esther and the Life Bloom women and the Breakout Women's Center women means the world to me, and I know it's meant a lot to all of you. So thank you, Ruth, for reminding me. And what I want to lift up tonight is just another thing that I want to contribute to, which is two farms, both of them on the East Coast, one started by African-American people and one by an indigenous man, both of them doing organic regenerative farming from an indigenous and Black agrarian history cultural roots. In other words, drawing on the African-American history of being a farming people by force for hundreds of years, and restoring their relationship to the land, making it their own relationship instead of a forced relationship. And Soul Fire Farm, which is very near where Ruthie lives, started by Leah Penniman. And I'm going to send you the link so you can look at them, but they have programs where they bring Black kids out from the cities to the farm, some of whom are afraid to take their shoes off and touch the earth because they have never had that experience. And so they're restoring a whole relationship to the land, to the African-American community. And the other one, the indigenous-led one, is creating, in fact, I wrote down what they're doing. This is so great. They're called Sylvan Aqua, outside of DC, employee-owned cooperative of farms, nurseries, mills, processors, retail outlets, and wholesale distributors, so that they have a complete chain from farm all the way up to the store, all cooperatively held, so they can make their pricing affordable. And their vision is to make food available at greatly reduced prices without sacrificing ecological values. And so that, organic, healthy food is not just for the wealthy and the elite, and how to make it for everybody. So these are the kind of things that are going on in our world that just make me so full of hope and joy. So I'm going to send you those links also. And if you feel like, in the spirit of reparations, that you would like to offer some support to these African-American and indigenous enterprises, I think that would be a really healing, I know it would be a healing thing for me. I'm going to definitely do that tonight. I mean, after tonight. So that's kind of what we're holding tonight for our giving and receiving and sharing time. Thank you for listening to all that. I know that was a lot of talk. Just want to tell you of future events. Next week, same time, we're starting a new program called Vespers and Lullabies. And it's a shorter, quiet evening of candlelight, gentle songs that will just smooth you out and get you ready for bed. A little bit of maybe poetry and readings, but just a really gentle, easy way to end the night. So it's like going to be 6 o'clock to maybe 6:30, 6:40. I'm not really putting a firm end on it. But if that suits you, I would love to have you come, and we'll just chill out together in a very peaceful way. Then the week of July 16th, we're going to take a week off. July is a 5-week month, And I feel like I need a week to regroup and recoup and revision and see, because again, all of this is going on longer than we thought. So I'm needing to think about, okay, if I'm doing this through the new year, how do I want to do it? So I'm going to kind of rethink and reboot and let you know what I come up with. But then the 23rd and the 30th will be back again. The 23rd will be a full session like tonight. The 30th will be Vespers and Blessings and Lullabies again, rather. So again, you'll get an email about that. So that's what's coming up. And now we have time for one of my favorite parts of the evening, which is for you to have a chance to share a little word from your heart about the evening. If you want to thank Ruth or just express to everybody what you're taking away, what gives you hope. You can do that by using the raise hand function, which is clicking on participants at the bottom of the screen. And then at the bottom of the participant list, you'll see raise hand, and I'll see it and I'll call on you. You can also make a sign and put it in the window screen, which I love. I think that is so cool to have words come up on the screen. So Adele Rollader, hi Adele, and thank you Adele for singing last week when the music got lost. We had some technical difficulties and you just jumped in. So yes, what would you like to say? Please unmute.
Yeah, well, the two things that came to me as far as tonight was warmth, again, which is one of the words that came to me last time, and something about my humanity. Like just something about liking my humanity, even though some of it is painful or lonely. So, and it was great to see you, Ruth, and see that film, and Betsy, your spirit. And I love seeing Marcy here and Sandy, and I love the little chat also. That was nice.
Oh yeah, the breakout. Oh good, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, a few people said they wished it was longer. That's good to know. Sometimes people are like, oh God, get me out of here. But clearly you are not that kind of a crowd. So we'll maybe make it a little longer next time. Great. Thank you so much, Adele. Anybody else have a little word they'd like to say? Raise your hand. Yeah, go ahead, Sister Noreen. Hi, just unmute yourself. Noreen, you need to unmute yourself. Do you know how to do that? Lower left-hand corner.
Sure.
Hi.
This time has been so inspiring and so uplifting. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Noreen. Where are you calling in from?
Oakland.
Oakland. Okay, great. There's another sister from Ireland that I've been corresponding with, but it's not you.
Oh.
Thank you. I'm so glad you came.
Thank you.
Oh, Liz, please speak up. Liz is one of my other collaborators who runs the Mute and Unmute sometimes. She took the night off tonight, but she's here. What a loyal person. What's up, Liz?
So the word for me is hopeful. It was the whole aspect of seeds and planting seeds and sort of looking for that hope. And that's what I'm taking away tonight, is a sense of a little more hope.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
I see some thumbs up and some nods. Yeah. You know, we just can't live without it. This world will not survive if we don't have hope in our hearts. And again, not hope in the actual, a specific outcome, but hope that we have the capacity to create what is needed. And I truly, truly believe that. Great. Jan in Berkeley, please.
Hi, thank you so much. As I said in the chat room, that it reminds me so much of what I did as a teenager, and other times I learned how to play the guitar at an early age and sang a lot of the 60s. I was a teenager in the 60s and sang a lot of the folk music and of Pete Seeger and others. That your music reminds me so much of that, and it's very uplifting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jan. Oh, it's so good to have you here. This is very moving. This is part of my probably my favorite time of the evening. Just lost my participant list for a minute. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, iPad. Hello, iPad. Would you like to speak?
Yes, please.
All right.
Sorry. I just got this iPad and I haven't figured out how to put my name in and have it be a permanent identification.
Oh,
so right. I end up being called iPad a lot.
I know.
I'm working I'm a disabled artist. In fact, I come to your concerts a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recognize
In
you.
fact, you had a concert in the community room of Redwood Gardens before you left for India. That was,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right.
I am working on a piece of learning about the time since the COVID, because right around that same time, I broke my foot in 3 places. And so there's been this learning and unfolding about what does it all mean? And so I have a very fractured drawing. There's a picture of me in a wheelchair. There's a picture of our cat died and he's crossing the Rainbow Bridge. And it's like, what else could happen? So I had this picture of a broken foot with fragments, lines running through it. And when you started with the seeds and talking about regenerative farming and how darkness comes first and there's chaos and then things resolve and something cool happens. So while you've been talking about this and singing it, I've been sketching a very burly tree growing out of the top of the broken foot.
Oh, wow.
And there's a giant butterfly in vivid colors sitting on top of the tree, which is, the butterfly is like almost as big as the tree. It's not a realistic drawing at all.
Can you show it to us? Can you put it up to your screen?
I can, but I don't know if you can see it because I can't see myself.
Back away a little bit, back away. Not quite so, yeah, there you go, there you go. And a little bit to your left. Yep, yeah, a little more. Perfect. All right, and then beautiful, beautiful.
So you see the foot, and so you inspired the tree and the butterfly.
All right, all
so
right.
that's what I'm taking away, is I'm going to finish this.
Right on. Oh, that's great. It's Penny, right? It's Penny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Fantastic. Oh, that was really fantastic. A few weeks ago, another woman was painting and drawing during the session and showed us what she did. This is really beautiful.
Oh, see, you're inspiring visual artists as well as hearing artists and emotional artists.
Seeds. You give a seed 1 drop of water, and all this beauty comes out. You know.
Yeah.
My part in this is very small. Your part in it is very huge. One more person, and then we need to close. Chris Yates, go for it. Chris, you there? Got to unmute.
I got to unmute. Can you hear me?
Unmute. That is the rule. Yep. Hi, Chris.
Okay. Aloha and thank you. There was a song early on, one of the adult songs about, it had the message in there of, I'm not sure what the point of it all is, but I trust that there is. It was one of the early songs you sang tonight.
Yeah. Maybe it was I Need a Simple Story. Maybe
that was it. I Need a Simple Story. This was just beautiful. Thank you for having Ruth. Thank you for being you. It gives me hope. Yeah. And connection.
It's good.
Thank you.
Aloha. Yeah. Okay. All right, folks. We always go a little over. I don't want to tax your energies. Ruth, would you take us out with a chorus of "Look to the People"? I think that would be just a gorgeous way to end. Do you feel up to it?
Oh, sure.
All right.
And yes, and I just want to appreciate you, Betsy.
Aww.
These evenings are such gems, and you put in so much thought and caring to preparing them. And maybe during one of the sessions, you could tell us a bit more about how you go about thinking of all of us and how you arrive at this precious gift you.
Oh, that's so lovely, Ruth. Well, I will tell you, I spend a lot of time thinking about you all between 1 and 4 in the morning. That's when I do my best work. I know. But thank you so much. It's it's what my heart needs to do. You know, Ruth. It's like we all need to create. We need to create stuff, whether it's a garden or a painting or a song or a child or a vision or a new world. We're made to create. So I'm grateful that I get to do that. And Ruth, take us out, and then we're going to open up the unmuting for all kinds of clapping and shouting and talking to each other.
Well, if you feel like unmuting and hearing some delicious cacophony of song, I'd be really into it.
It's pretty awful. It's actually pretty awful,
I love
Ruth.
that sound.
Well, it's up to you. This is your moment. You do what you want.
Turn it up. Put
All
up.
right. All right.
I mean, unmute the mute. Can we do? Yeah, is everybody here? If you are, say woo, 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 woo. And make this awful sound just sound, who cares, you know? Here we go. We're gonna look to the people for
Community.
unity. Can we have
Voice.
some hand clapping? That'll sound even worse. Here we go. We're gonna look to the people for
Unity. Hard times coming ahead. We're gonna sing and shout. Gonna work it out.
That delicious
Equals community.
Make it.
With equals unity.
With
people's unity.
We can
we will make it. Woo,
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Beautiful.
Thank you.
See you next week for Lullabies and Vespers.
Okay, bye, Betsy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.